Room 13 presents the unsettling tale of the Raven's Nest Inn, a forgotten relic of a building nestled deep in the heart of Widow's Ridge. Shrouded in the chill of the mist-clad October woods, the inn loomed like a long-forgotten secret waiting to resurface. Alden Hargrove crept up the inn's cracked stone steps, the whispering wind urging him forward like a curious child tugging at one's sleeve. He'd come to Widow's Ridge seeking solitude, to escape a world that filled him with a restless kind of emptiness. The Raven's Nest, wrapped in its enigmatic aura, seemed to call him silently. The plaque at the threshold read, Room 13. Its letters faded with time, but oddly luminescent, as if they clung to the last bits of moonlight that still touched this part of the earth. Alden's hand paused on the doorknob, a peculiar sensation racing up his arm, as if the metal itself had taken a shallow breath in welcome. Stepping inside, he was enveloped by the inn's maw, a suffocating quiet that swallowed the sounds of the outside world. Dust motes danced in pale beams of light slipping through moth-eaten drapery. The air was musty with the scent of history buried too long under the weight of neglect and time. Alden surveyed the lobby, its once grand chandelier swaying gently as if moved by unseen hands. The register at the desk was open, a thin layer of dust covering the parchment pages, save for the final entry scrawled in a spindly hand, Room 13. The mysterious allure of an ancient key hanging below the desk drew him in. Alden reached for it, the cold metal stark against his palm. Inscribed on it was a raven in flight, captured mid-swoop, and the number 13. He ascended the stairs, each creak an echo into the silence that seemed loud enough to wake the inn itself. Along the corridor, the faded wallpaper bore patterns of entwined ivy, like vines reclaiming a lost land. Room 13 stood alone at the end of the hall, an anomaly amongst closed doors clouding the inn's dusty memory. Alden hesitated, only momentarily, before the key turned effortlessly in the lock. The room was surprisingly warm, with a fireplace that crackled quietly despite the absence of flame. An old phonograph in the corner began to play a somber melody, its music rising as if the needle fell across vinyl of its own accord. He felt not fear, but an eerie sense of familiarity, like stepping into a place once visited in dreams. As night draped over the inn, Alden explored Room 13. The mirror beside the wardrobe intrigued him most. It reflected not only his image but played tricks with shadows and light, shifting just enough to make him question his perceptions. It was then that Alden felt the weight of unseen eyes. Not hostile, rather observant, as though the room scrutinized him in return. He turned in a slow circle, the shadows shrinking back, mischievous wraiths in the corners of the room. Retreating to the bed, he examined the nightstand and found an old journal, its cover weathered nearly beyond recognition. According to its yellowed pages, its last owner was named Eleanor Thorne, a regular at this mysterious sanctuary. Her entries were intimate, confessing dilemmas not foreign to Alden. September 12th, he read aloud. Ma, the dreams have started again. Eleanor's words spiraled through his mind as he questioned his decision to stay. She wrote of solitary midsummer evenings, the inn's seemingly pulsating walls cradling her in a cocoon of secrets she could never quite reach. Alden dreamt that night, vivid, unsettling scenes painted in the deep indigo of sleep. He wandered through woods that whispered his name, the sound echoing around him like a dirge. The moon dripped its silver light over everyone who had ever sought refuge in Room 13. A raven watched him in the dream, high on an ancient tree, eyes like molten coals piercing through the gloom. Its gaze held the weight of ages, indivisible in its intensity. A sudden crash startled him awake. The room was different. Now, objects lay askew as if an invisible hand had swept through, angered. The mirror tilted at an odd angle, and the reflection it cast was unrecognizable, an echo of his own face copied all wrong, features distorted by an unseen hand. The music had changed. A tune spiraled through the air that seemed to warp and rewind like a life lived backward. Alden shivered, the inn feeling less like a refuge and more like a carefully maintained trap. He turned hastily to the journal, seeking a path through Eleanor's recollections, desperate for answers amid shadowed scribbles. Her notes grew frantic. October 4th, Room 13 knows us. The raven visits often now. I fear what it might mean. The air thickened with an electric anticipation until he felt a gentle breeze, barely perceptible, yet significant, a caress of time itself bending around him. The presence was tangible, not cold, but curious. Suddenly, an apparition flickered in the corner of his eye. A woman, or perhaps just the impression of one, like a half-remembered song. She lingered at the edge of sight, gone as quickly as she'd appeared, yet the room felt fuller in her absence, as though she remained just out of reach. Day turned impossibly pale, clouds pregnant with rain shrouding the sun. Every creak of the floor became a confession, the weight of unspoken narratives bearing down on his shoulders. He stepped to the mirror yet again, the outline of the solitary raven newly etched into its corner. Faces stared back from every angle, layered beneath his own, in a chilling palimpsest of souls. Picking up the journal once more, he flipped to the last marked page. Eleanor's final entry was smeared, words barely legible, as if written in a haste bred of fear. Trust not the hour you perceive. Trust not the shadows. Room 13 nourishes what you bring to it. It reflects what even you cannot see. A sudden clarity seized him. The realization that Room 13's secrets were not buried behind its walls, but woven into the fabric of those who stepped through its door. It surfaced their truths, the fears held deepest within, offering them to the silence. Alden faced the fireplace, feeling its warmth for the first time blossom against the chill of realization. The carpet, worn by 1,000 lingering footsteps, seemed to whisper underfoot, stories absorbed over decades. He saw the raven perched on the windowsill now, its eyes glimmering like polished onyx. There was no menace in it, merely a bridge to understanding. Alden moved to the window slowly, as if fearing to startle a fragile revelation. The raven remained, unflinching, as if guarding the truths that Room 13 had so carefully nurtured. Alden's thoughts were a maelstrom, emotions too varied to untangle. The inn had transformed into a mirror, reflecting the undisturbed corners of his mind. A spectral dusk descended, imbuing the room with twilight's eerie grace. The shadows lengthened, stretching into infinity, and entangled with them was an awareness now more acute than before. In the starlit quiet of the raven's nest, Alden understood. Room 13 was less a place and more an invitation. To those who entered, it offered not oppressive fear or malevolent intention, but a journey inward, where all was laid bare in the delicate, indelible firmament of the psyche. As the night hemmed in, Alden released a breath he didn't know he'd been holding, a strange calm enveloping him. The inn had gifted him its clarity, its unyielding truth, and the raven, silent witness, remained vigilant in its promise to preserve every whispered secret, every unbidden thought that had ever passed through the threshold defined by Room 13.